The internet and virtual reality has been in the market for quite a while now. There have been games simulating FPS, RTS, team sports, even simulation of the human psyche all over the past few decades. However, it only seems like last year was the inception of a new era of virtual reality, or in this case, the popularity of engineering simulation, of engineering vehicles and the simulation of race cars. That thing has been picking up for quite a while, but it's like the surge just picked up for the past couple of years. The inception of F1 esports and internet-based racing was only the beginning of what could be a new era for motorsport. In this ride, Revit was formulated earlier on this year with multiple rounds of the virtual drag race daredevilry, the Herculean hill climbs, and over 1,000 cumulative racing laps on Monza later. We find ourselves here today at the grand finale of the Revit Virtual Racing Challenge. We started with 64 drivers in the beginning of the endurance event series, and now we have the top 16 all lined up for a 40-minute, that's right, a 40-minute long endurance race right here at the Autodromo Nacional di Monza. For our recurring viewers, welcome back to the arena. For our newer viewers joining us here today, welcome to the Thunderdome. Allow me to give you a quick overview of the competition. Formula Bharat is an Indian Formula student style engineering design competition in which students from colleges and universities all over the country compete with life size Formula style vehicles in areas of engineering design, overall cost, marketability, and dynamic performance. The series replicates the global Formula Student Series hosted in around 11 countries per year. Launched in 2017, each year the Formula Bharat competition hosts both combustion and electric vehicle categories. With a student community base of more than 8,000 engineering students, the platform hopes to promote practical, hands on engineering experiences. Revit is a virtual racing challenge by Formula Bharat in collaboration with IReSports. Now, this event does have racing, but it's also a fundamental test of your engineering knowledge in setting up race cars. A typical recreation of the FS dynamic events, so to speak, with one major difference. Today, we will be having wheel to wheel action, as you already see on your screen right now. Before we get into that, one of the many advantages of racing in the virtual world from the safety and the comfort of your cozy little gaming chairs at home. These drivers have one task and one task only, to take the checkered flag before everybody else does. IReSports are India's largest e-racing organizers. IReSports has created iconic properties in the racing esports space, such as the Indian e-racing championship, the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, Mumbai's fastest gamer, India's fastest gamer, the Indian Sim Racing League, and many more. IReSports curates, plans, and executes custom motorsport-based campaigns via esports across various mediums. So, on that note, let's dive straight into the broadcasting team today. Our race directors for this evening, the ones who are in charge of the entire sequence of events you see on screen and all that camera work, are Tanuj, Gaurav, and Firoz. Firoz, it's actually Firoz's birthday today, so let's hear a huge shout out for our race director's birthday today. Let's hear the hype in the chat. I'm quite sure the race directors will be at the top of their game to ensure that the competition runs extremely smoothly today. My name is Saidat Ramesh, and today I am joined by Solomon, and we are all set to jump right into the action. So, straight into the conversation, Solomon. I mean, the top 16, the 16 best driver and engineering squads, the driver engineering
Right.
pairs in this particular event, all set to bat it out for ultimate glory. I mean, it's fairly exciting here in the commentary box, but I would suspect the strings of tension on track could be sliced with a paper.
Chief, I've just decided that I'm going to take some Red Bull and all of the energy drink right next to me so that I'm able to keep up with that 40 minutes. Just to tell you how competitive this thing is, we were talking about the fastest lap time during the qualifying when the semis happened was 1 minute 32.7. The fifth place at this point of time is 1 minute 32.7. Well, a big shout out to Feroz. A very happy birthday, you being the race director, but we don't expect you to be very kind because it's your birthday. Have a good one, Feroz. But in the meantime, Mughal crosses 1 minute 31.8 on 8. We've already seen a fastest lap time of 1 minute 30 second odd, which is over 2.5 seconds better than the semis. Sai, we have a biller in hand. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, we do. We do that. Look at that. Look at the pillar, the column of timings. I mean, your timing slots there on the left side. We've not seen this many in the competition at once. It's just been standard eight car races up till now for the past 12 streams. This is our final stream, and we have 16 drivers on the grid today. You're talking about how they're trying to go over the personal bests from previous rounds. I'll tell you one thing though, they certainly won't be going over the white lines, right? Because we have some really good stewards taking care of everyone, making sure that they don't cut the track.
Vogelan was clocking about 1 minute 30 odd, but look at the fastest lap time 1 minute 29.277. So we have two folks under 1 minute 30. We're talking about not 2.5, over 4 seconds faster than the semi final qualifying time. So lap times are really coming down. Swarup, the man on your screen, to the man who really been the danger man to try and beat right now.
Certainly, really good track conditions as well. One of the other reasons why these lap times are slowly improving. We won't
Sai,
get right into that
you know
though.
what? Remember, I was talking about bulls and having an energy drink. So we are talking about Swaroop from Bulls Racing. It's
Yeah,
all coming together. It's all coming together, Sai. I hope
we
you
will
and
look
I
at
have
that.
enough energy at the end of the entire 40 minutes.
Certainly, we will. If it all depends on the action on track. Let's hope we get drained of energy because if there's a lot of action on track, I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a super exciting race. I mean, just look at the leaderboard. We've got multiple teams that have managed to get two drivers in. These are teams to look out for. You've got BZR, Bulls Racing, who seem to be on a charge right now. Another 5 tenths cut off their personal best. We've got MACR, who's got both their drivers into the top 10, in the top 16. Sorry, the two drivers from BJRT from Blue Jay Racing and two drivers from Amrita Racing. So we've got a lot of fierce competition up there. Just a quick note. Let's just introduce our race stewards for today. I believe we have two who have a lot of experience in driving, don't they? In real life race cars as well.
They only drive the Jaguar. They are not the normal car. They would only want to do the Jaguar. Am I right, Sai?
I mean, they are test drivers. They have experience in such a wide range of motorsport outlooks over there. Our first steward for the day is Abha Mankar. She was part of the young drivers programs in multiple high end motorsport teams. She's been part of the one in a billion hunt by Force India. If you all remember that from many years ago, it was an action packed battle that one. So she knows her way in and around the track. She's got a lot of podiums in karting as well. Very experienced steward. And yes, she's been part of Jaguar as well. Our second steward for the evening is Aditya Pawar. He's also got multiple podiums in Volkswagen Polo Championship. He's also winner of multiple four-stroke karting tournaments as well. So a lot of karting experience coming up here. And they always say these are high-end open wheel cars you see on your screen, but karting experience is where it all starts. So these drivers, these stewards, definitely know their way around the track. Very experienced. We're very grateful to be having them on board this fine evening as well.
Well, without further ado, we're already looking at somebody at 10th place, clocking the fastest lap time that was set in the semi final. This grid is really getting competitive and it's only going to get even more tougher as you go. Would you believe it? We were talking about 1 minute 30. Somebody's clocked in 1 minute 27.977, 1 minute 28.767, one whole second faster than the guy who's coming in and has the leaderboard position. Iron at number 3, Arthur at number 4, Vishal at 5. This is augurs really well at the moment.
We love to see it. This many cars on track, trying to get each other's toe, trying to search for every little bit of advantage they can get on their laps. You see almost everyone going in single file. Undoubtedly, the driver at the back of that train getting the biggest advantage of the lot. Um, However, they do kind of run up really quick to the car up in front. You see that happening with BJRT. I believe he's right behind the OMS driver over there. And look at that. That's the dirty air. That's the issue going through Lesmo one. If you're right behind a car, you need to predict that loss of front end grip as you see more action going on in these sections. And we won't reveal the track conditions just yet, viewers. We'll let you know in a couple of minutes. But yeah, some parts of the track have become easier, some parts have become a lot more treacherous than what they were in the semi-finals races.
I would looking at the way the downforce of some of the cars is. Let's just quickly sum up important information. Turn number 1 and 2, avoid the sausage curb. I don't know, Saib, if some people spoke to you. I had a feeling that this time around they will be very well behaved in turn number 1 and 2 for the simple reason. You cannot really predict as to what kind of lines you can actually take in one and two when two or three cars are jumped in together. In Formula One, we've seen quite a few cars almost having no space and no throttle out of that corner. Second, we will also look at turn 6 and turn 7. Listen, there's a little bit of bulge. You got to be a little bit careful. Certain markings on this particular track, you need to find out where your marking is and then take the corner. It's going to be a very tough. It is Monza, and we are riding the legendary Ayrton Senna's own driven car. Guys, you can't get bigger than this. Welcome to Formula Bharat. Welcome to Revit.
Certainly, as they rev their way through the first corner. Remember, we've got Athav over here on screen and his teammate parked there on turn number one. So I don't know. It looks like the second MACR driver, Dhruv, hasn't put as fast a lap time as his teammate. In fact, he's about 4 seconds slower. I'm quite sure, at least the 34 seem like decent times, but everyone slower than 34 are certainly not at the peak of their performance. Drivers like Sandeep from AR and SRC Surya, both those drivers, of course, are probably only on their banker laps right now. They haven't put a solid lap on board. You can see that. You can see a bit of yaw moment over there as it gets out of Lesmo. And the reason for that is we actually have a different wind direction today. We have quite a strong wind in the northeast direction, which gives you a crosswind at Lesmo 1. So getting into the technicalities of that rear wing end plate, right? The big plate on the side of the rear wing holding and supporting those aerofoils, those wing elements, that's actually, when the wing kind of crosses and hits that's going to cause a moment as well. Now if it's not balanced out by the rest of the car, that's going to start yawing your car. And if it's a lot bigger at the rear, you know what that means. You're going to get some oversteer through that corner unless your tires can work. So it's a balance. You're going to have bigger rear wing end plates. You want to make sure you have more rear wing downforce as well.
I was just looking at Atharva's overtaking maneuver. I'm not sure which car he really passed. So there is something to be learned here. You will find a lot of folks now trying to make more overtaking maneuver on Curva Parabolica. We didn't see that too much in the semi-finals. We tried more people trying in turn 1 and turn 2 and maybe towards turn 6 and 7. So you got to pick your corners, you got to pick your battles, and then hope to move ahead. If turn 1 and 2 is not your strong point, stay away, just follow the car ahead of you. Interesting question, Sai. We were talking about going clockwise, and most of them complained the left rear was having a lot of treading. So it's, and there's a lot of alignment. Remember, the wheelbase is going to be perfect. You really need to keep your tail absolutely fine to get those
Mhm.
corners right.
Absolutely. It's just about finding the balance through each and every section, stitching together a good lap around Monza. It's about as difficult as winning a world championship at certain times, because of how difficult it is to predict each braking zone on a constantly evolving track. And remember, viewers, something else very interesting for the race. And Solomon, by the way, it's a 40-minute race, but these drivers have to make a mandatory pit stop between the first and 39th minute of the race. So if there's going to be carnage in turn one, um, well, let's hope it's not there. But looking at the way things have been happening, I'm quite sure like five drivers might potentially just finish their pit stop on the first lap itself. It's a lot to play out for. Remember, it is the finals. It's all or nothing. You have two bulls right up there in the front, both perhaps going to be running in tandem for the better half of the race. Perhaps even pitting on alternate laps. It's a lot to play for. Can't discount MACR Arthur, who's right behind them, and Aryan holding a solid pace of just under a tenth of a second behind Arthur. So a lot of competition. This is the top 16.
I was slightly thinking. So, say for example, I start somewhere between 12 through the 14. That doesn't make any sense if I get into the pit stop early. I may want to pit in about 25, 30 minutes later, and then during the pit stop, you may come back with almost a fresher car and may be able to set in your alignment just because you come out of the pit lane. Mind you, you're losing over 30 seconds when you come back into the pit lane and then come back onto the track. So, that's something you need to account for. Uh, the leaders, if you have the lead, maybe towards the end, they will look at. So somebody has to roll the dice. And at this point of time, Swaroop will be looking to make a start. Let's not forget, somebody who always starts at number two on this particular track has the chance to put a little bit of pressure on the opening lap itself.
Yeah, it's we've seen this consistently happening. Usually, the drivers up front have a bit of a jump. they're able to get up there and stay out of trouble. We saw that happen in one of the semi-finals races. Remember, only the top two just running away, avoiding all the carnage on track. But that's really really difficult to say for sure what exactly is going to be happening. Um, it's difficult to predict. I think if BZR can keep their composure into turn one, they can potentially run away with this. We've seen both drivers win both all the races they've taken part in. Uh, Really, no favorites over here, but you can just see the sheer pace that they're bringing, the force that they're bringing. But I feel everyone, at least in the top 10, have a very good shot. Maybe top 12. Everyone who's under 1 minute 32 can still be up there and pick up the pieces. We've seen drivers who are 5 seconds off pace still managing to get podiums, even a top two finish here at Revit. But as the order stands, we see both those cars up in front with everyone else hot on their tails. We're 1 minute into overtime here at this brilliant circuit at the Autodromo Nacional. I keep messing it up, don't I?
That's fine.
Autodromo,
1 minute is
Autodromo
okay.
Nacional di Monza. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to nail
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's a classic track. I want to pay homage to it. I mean, Italian is not the language I know, but it's still the best way to refer to this track by its original name. Just look at the glory of the track in I believe that's the autumn season in game, and it's what better way? I mean, what better way to end the entire series? We've seen it 12 times, one last time here around Monza. But before we jump straight into the race, this is how the order stands. Swaroop and Sudeep taking P1 and P2, Atharv and Aryan from MACR and HR taking P4, and then SCASR Dinesh wrapping up the top five right now.
Mind you, we've shelled 5 seconds from the semifinals. Five. That's a lot of seconds. Wow, this is going to be a biller.
100%, 100%. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe while we wait, we can just have a relook at that final order, just to have an idea of what to expect as the race starts.
It's going to be very interesting when somebody who's starting at number two will have the little bit of an edge on the race leader. They need to defend from the word go.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see, if you're in number two and your teammate is in P1, then it's not really a big deal, right? Because I'm quite sure that some of these teammates will be on the same on the same radio, but it's surprising to see some of them on the same grid slot, same row. It's a lot of strategy going to be playing out here. Remember, they need to pit at least once in this entire race.
And my guess is if you're a leader, you may want to pick later, but if you're in the mid pack, you may want to possibly mid somewhere 20, 25 minutes. If you're right at the last, you might just want to dive into the pit lane and pick up over to so that we start starting. And we are counting.
100%. Yeah, we are counting. So just when that timer hits around 10 seconds, that's when everyone is going to be able to launch into action. One last time here in Revit, we are ready for the endurance final, the grand finale. All the lights are coming up. You can hear the revs and the engine scream, the turbo shout, and the lights go out. The flag drops. We have green flag conditions right now. Everyone gets away reasonably well. Some overtakes already happening at the back. Leaders have gotten a good start, but you see a blue car over there getting a jump up in front. Who is that? That could be either others or Mugilan making a move over there. No, that's the Hermes racing car with HRT right behind. One driver clean into the wall. That's Mugilan straight into the wall from Shaurya Racing. Couple more blue cars out of the way, getting pushed out. As you see, I think that's MACR Atharv getting a little tap there, losing a couple of positions down into P6. Aman from Formula Manipal coming there to pick up the pieces. More drivers straight into the wall. Well, not as chaotic as what I'd expected, but it still has costed a few drivers there at the start, Solomon.
You know, one thing we were actually expecting a bigger chaos. There was chaos. There was more than a traffic jam. So most of them are well behaved, and as I can see the timing sheet, some of them have already joined back. So not much lost. Remember, it's been a while since we've seen four cars up in the front trying to outdo each other, and the fight between the top four is going to bring in even somebody like an Anish and an Adarsh into the top 5-6 battle. That is going to be very interesting. So Aryan now has a clear track. He's going to run away into the distance.
look at that. Aryan getting a brilliant start. He was, of course, if I'm not mistaken, P4, but somehow managing to jump into T1, staying out of trouble. He was right. He was being tailed by that HRT driver who's gone wide over there, potentially going to lose another spot. I think to Danish, you can see the blue and black camoed livery, but that's really standing out today. He's really shining up there as you go into Parabolica. He has the outside line, more momentum, but not the ideal line. You could run wide. He manages to make it sick as Aman goes all over the place, loses it, and almost collects a couple of cars, manages to stay out of the way. And you can see it's actually a very nice camera angle over there, Solomon. You can see the bank of the turn, especially the bank of the track at Parabolica.
It is ideal for somebody who wants to blow the grass there. Well, I don't want to be a little bun, but the fact of the matter is there's no need to go too wide there. Three cars, that was really nicely done. A little space taken, space given. Samyak now involving a battle for the fight for the seventh, eighth, and the ninth. Samyak seems to be much faster than Adarsh and Surya. I just hope
Another
he's able to
blue
get
car.
back.
That's another blue car parked on the exit. Who was that? I believe that might have been Ninesh from Formula Manipal Electric. Yes, he spun over there. So both Formula Manipal cars, one from electric and one from combustion, running into all sorts of trouble at the start. I feel quite bad that Aman lost that position because, believe it or not, he jumped all the way from P12 up to P4, almost about the battle P4, and then he lost it at Parabolica. We've seen that corner consistently catching out multiple drivers. Another corner that, for example, the one that Prithvi is passed over there from Amrita Racing, that is Della Roja. Another corner where we've seen quite a few incidents, more carnage out of Lesmo 1. Remember, he looks like he spun over there. Remember, Lesmo 1 is treacherous for catching you out, putting some oversteer when it's not needed at all. It looks like one of those drivers. I don't know who it was. It was a blue car that got spun there and continued to spin, maintaining that momentum as another car crashed into him. So that's two more races that have been compromised. I believe the car that crashed into him was the SRC car, right? I believe that was a graffiti car.
I did see that, but taking a pun on Fast and Furious, this is furious and fast. A lot of them. In the meantime, Aryan has just set in the fastest lap time. Why not? Because he's got the race lead. Swaroop, we expected him to have a little battle for the one and two. Despite having a P1, we knew somebody who's in two and three will have a chance to overtake, and they have. Adarsh now slowly consolidating at number six. He's need to make a move on, and so does Sudeep at number 9 and number 10, Samyak.
It's incredible to see that battle for P1 and 2 is still all but over, and looks like maybe only other battle on track right now has been PZR Sudeep and Samyak P8 and 9. There was an overtaking maneuver over there, and it looks like Sudeep lost another spot. He was in fact on the first row of the grid. Right now he's battling to just get and hold on to that top 10 position at the moment. I think once again there's been a bit of a switch back as Samyak loses the position once again to Sudeep, making their way back to Della Roja. We've seen OMS have solid races, some are getting podiums. He's not the type of driver who will be backing off, regardless of who it is in front of him. He's going to fight for those positions. Remember, this is for the glory. Podium would be nice, but come on, everyone wants to get there on P1, right?
This is the glory at Revit, Formula Bharat, and a big way to go around it with the IReSports around to make sure this really happens. And the experience has been scintillating to the least, I must say. It's been always on the move. We were talking about cars trying to understand Surup taking overtaking Manua.
Yeah,
Where is he?
there you go.
On iron right now on the inside. He's got the race lead. Do not try and overtake on turn one and two at your own peril. Iron doesn't listen to us, but he goes on the outside. I'm glad he didn't listen to us for the moment.
This is what you love to see. Drivers actually battling for position, but very carefully doing it without causing any collision. I think that was just Swaroop backing off, saying, "You know what, take that position. I'll be back." And there's more overtakes going on here with P5 and P6. Vishal taking the inside line and then cutting across the track, nearly pushing the BJ RT driver wide. Good to say, and both drivers are kept clean, but that was a little scary over there. For I would say, if I
Of
were the
course,
BJRT
but
driver, I would have been pretty terrified going into that turn.
I agree, but his nose was ahead, so it could come off like with a line say that okay, he had the racing line, he had the distance, he had the lead, he may have to hold it on. Now, as we seen, Aryan is still the race lead. I had a feeling when Aryan dived in from the outside, I was surprised that Swarup took a little defensive line into turn one and two. He shouldn't have changed track.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why he flipped to the other side. Perhaps he realized that Aryan would get the slipstream and go on the inside. So he went defensive. Aryan, of course, threw him the dummy and took the outside, holding on to that position. And then at that point, listen, when you move off the racing line, whenever you make a move on the straight, if you don't have the slipstream beforehand, you're going to lose all that momentum. And that's precisely what happened to Swaroop. That just shows how much downforce and drag that car's probably having. As you see Swaroop trying to make one more move and see he's either backing off, he's not getting the slipstream. Almost looks like he's just backing off. He sees the back marker over there. He does not want to compromise his race. I mean, these drivers, they know what it takes to win a race. They know that the race is not lost just yet. We've got more than half an hour's worth of racing left. Swaroop knows he's got enough time. He's just got to stick with Aryan and maybe make a maneuver on the final lap, or maybe undercut him. I don't know. I don't think an undercut will work here, but he's gonna just have to do exactly what Aryan does to keep him in his sights.
Swaroop was taking a not exactly attacking the corner. He was taking a very, very conservative line, if I may say. So with about 32 minutes to go, we have Arya number one, Swaroop number two, Danish at number three, Atharva at number four, Vishal at five, Lee at six, Adesh at seven, Sudeep at eight, Manish at nine, Shashank at 10. Still battling off Surya and Samyak. Samyak has not dropped one but three places. A man who showed a lot of promise.
100%. A lot of promise he's shown. A lot of drivers up here in the front making quite a few positions. STESR Danish, sorry, my apologies. STESR Danish Tamboli from the STS racing team has made up one position up into the podium spots, doing a very good job. I mean, you can see he's dropping a bit to the leaders, but he's been holding that position quite well for a majority of this race. We just about 10 minutes done with the race, but the battle for the front, for the leading position, has all but started. We're 25% done, but I think this battle is nowhere near completed. As Swaroop makes another move, okay, you can see that in this camera angle, and then Aryan tucks right back behind him in the slipstream. Let's see what happens here into turn number one. Brilliant angle. You see those cars diving into turn number one. Aryan trying to make another move. He's made it stick over there, but Swaroop will have the switchback. Aryan defends brilliantly. Both these drivers have perfect control of their car. Once again, Aryan is now on the outside. Swaroop is going to have this run up into Della Roggia. Solomon, this is potentially another
Exactly.
another overtaking move in the making.
I think that's exactly where he just needs to be there. Just show him the intent that I am there. Every time, when you're trying to chase somebody, you always try to tend to go faster than usual. So whenever you're trying to overtake someone, you try and do a little bit more than what the other person's doing. So what you got to do is you got to pressurize them to make that little mistake. Now Aryan is possibly thinking the bluff is coming. He knows he's going to be overtaken from the inside. Swaroop just needs to constantly breathe down his neck, and there will be a mistake. Can Aryan
Speaking of
hold on?
mistakes, some drivers seem to be taking a bit too much of that sausage curve, and you're certainly not going to be happy with that, are you?
They are hungry, I say. So you're hungry. Go over the sausage curve. Come on, that's not a pun intended. It's time to learn to go back to basic. Please do not touch the sausage curve. If your turn one and two is really not your strong point, don't take it that way. Vishal decides to attack the
Next.
corner and he now moves into position number four. Atharva falls back to position number five. Danish is still at number three, expecting more from him.
We go.
Now the
More overtakes again. Yes, looks like Swaroop once again taking the inside. Aryan again
come on
tucks
the
right
outside.
behind him. This time Swaroop's
Swaroop,
learned
come
how
on the
to take care
outside.
of this. He's taking the
Yep,
inside line. He's
defend.
holding it this time around. Swaroop holds that. So he knows Aryan's tactic now. He lets Swaroop get the slipstream by slowing down a bit too much and then tucks right behind him. And see, you can already see now Aryan is struggling. He's got a broken front wing. So Aryan needs all the slipstream he can to get rid of that extra drag. You see him going wide at certain parts, understeering like crazy. Um, and yeah, so let's see what happens. Maybe another battle I can see over here. Ninesh and Shashank seem to be quite close. Looking at the leaderboard, let's just see what Shashank is up to right now. You can see that he's just trying to hold on. He's just trying to hunt him down. You can see Shashank in the blue car, Ninesh over there in the slightly blue and white car. Ninesh, of course, from Manipal Electric, Formula Manipal Electric. The other Formula Manipal car not faring as well, back down in 13th place, having to make up the positions that he had once gained at the start of the race. I mean, he had a brilliant start. Now he's back to square one at the tail end of the field.
Uh, Two things. One is about the way Swaroop defended that line. He parked the car on the track where Aryan didn't want to see. So he couldn't accelerate out the corner nor brake late. So he really killed that toe there. Brilliant move by Swaroop. He's got the lead. Now he's got a new ring. Now, the interesting thing that you talked about Danish is he's still at number three, almost matching timings with Aryan. The
Mhm.
fastest man on the track is
Yeah.
Sudeep, and he's at position number six, and he just clocked 1 minute 32. Remember, the fastest time that we had was somewhere between 129 under, 127 to be precise.
All that while we were talking about Sudeep, once again Swaroop having to defend and stay, hold on to that position. Where is Aryan? He's in the pits. What happened there? We had just missed out on that. So Aryan, the driver who was battling for the front all this time, is pitted at around the 28-minute mark. So I'm quite sure he might have misjudged his braking zone or something, because there's only one reason why you'd go in the pits at this point, and that's if you have damage. He's going to have to now use everyone else's toe and get back up there. Remember, he still has a chance because the driver up front, Swaroop, is yet to pit. But I mean, Hermes Racing really has to perfect the race from this point on. No more damages, no more modifications from natural modifications to the front wing from crashing into barriers. They need to keep it clean if they want to win this race.
Before I say something else, I would like to tell the race directors and everyone at IRC and Formula Bharat, thank you for making it a 40 minutes race. Next time, consider to make it a 1 hour. Well, I was just joking, but the 40 minutes is already showing it a lot of action. It really brings in the class of racing again. I'm so happy to see from the semi-finals. We've seen a very, very good start. We've seen a very, very solid work which is happening around here. We've seen where the defending that has happened. We've seen idle start. We've seen cars going up. So we've seen a lot of action already. And we still got 27 minutes to go.
27 minutes left, and already some drivers are more than 100 seconds, 150 seconds behind the leader. At least one thing is there. Apart from that first lap incident, I don't think there have been any other collisions that we've seen on screen. At least most of the driving has been relatively clean, especially way up in front. You also see that battle between Sudeep, Adarsh, and then there's one more between Atharv and Vishal that were all very clean up till now. So at least the top five really holding their composure. Top five, top six. But then there's quite a big gap down to Prithvi from Amrita Racing and the other BJRT car of Shashank. Well, the he's over there well off his teammate's pace currently, about 25 seconds. I think the next battle which we might have to look at is the one on screen, of course. Sudeep versus MACR Athav, both of them in the black cars, one a charging bull, the other one Mercedes power, both trying to get up in front. Let's see what happens this time by into the chicane. So BZR gets the inside line as Sudeep takes that inside line, doesn't go too wide in the sausage curve, so he holds it brilliantly well, but he does lose a bit of momentum. MACR Atharv has to be careful here. He has to time it. He has to time in the turn. Remember that dirty air along with the wind is going to throw you off into Lesmo 1 particularly. Lesmo 2, a bit easier with the current wind conditions, but nonetheless, tricky, especially when you're tailing a car. And I don't know, it looks like Atharv has dropped back quite a lot. Must have been that dirty air through those sections.
When you're talking about Ascari, that is the corner that follows after curves the Lesmo, and you go down to the Ascari curve, you really need to make sure that you carry as much of speed as possible. Now, Aryan has joined in. Remember, we were looking at Swaroop. Swaroop is banking on some quick laps. He now joins back at number 14. This he has a lot of time to make up.
I believe that's probably Swaroop or Sudeep's car up there, because Aryan's about a lap down right now. You see about 185 seconds. 180 seconds is about the average lap time here. So yeah, I believe that is Swaroop right in front of Aryan. So he can. His battles again going on. The only difference is the blue car on track is a blue flag driver at the moment. So he's. I think now he's got to keep his eye on Swaroop, and he's not gonna. Swaroop is obviously not going to lose an entire laps worth of time from a pit stop. But if anything happens to him, Aryan can pick up the pieces. He's got to just hold on to his slipstream and just start piggybacking on that drag reduction and start taking other positions on track, because there are only about 25 minutes left for him to make any sort of impact in the top three.
Aryan, at this point of time, I believe, will be looking to unlap himself. He's allowed to unlap himself provided Swaroop is slow. Mind you, Swaroop may be considering right now to hit into the pit lane. I'm not sure if that will be the right strategy. Sudeep has not hit into the pit lane. He had the fastest lap time. Adarsh, I believe, has gone into the pit lane. This is called the roll of dice. 24 minutes to go. We still don't know who's going to win the race, even though
Others
Swaroop is still the lead.
certainly the drivers that are dropping down in the leaderboard are no doubt in the pits because I don't think anyone's crashing right now. Everyone's found their pace. I'm quite sure Vishal has as well, but he just backs out of that overtaking maneuver, and I think it's very smart that he did that because if you have the inside line in Parabolica, you risk running wide, especially because you'll be carrying too much speed for the tighter line you're taking. So if your car is rear biased, then that's just going to push you wide, especially in terms of the aero balance. As Vishal is once again just trying to latch onto the slipstream. He's not even in the slipstream, and neither is he trying to stay in that. Not quite sure why he's taking that line, but he's got a lot of erratic inputs. So look at this. Look at this, Solomon. 2, 3, and 4 are all battling it out. This is going to be an interesting battle. Let's hope they all keep it clean. I think the only one who's going to be getting an advantage here is Vishal, because everyone else will be battling with each other. Who is that? I don't think that's the driver right in front. That is, I believe, Danish right in front of them. Yep. So he's not going to worry too much if Sudeep and Vishal start squabbling amongst themselves. As Vishal gets a poor exit over there, if they start squabbling, then Danish is going to have a bit of respite, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
I think Danish, I'm using my calculations here, but I do know for a fact Danish has an outside chance to be there on the podium. Swaroop needs to pit. Somebody in the mid pack has already pitted. Aryan has pitted. We've also seen Sandeep and Mughal pit earlier on. So maybe it is not worked in your favor when you have pitted in early. You need to pit in late. You
Certainly not the
possibly
undercut
yeah,
doesn't
you
work well
possibly
here.
possibly you got to do a Lewis Hamilton.
No, exactly. See, the thing with the undercut Monza, if you get out of the slipstream that you have from the car up ahead, if you get spat out on track behind nobody, you're in no man's land, and you can lose up to a second, maybe 1.5 seconds, if you're really unlucky with your exits. If you are in the middle of nowhere, especially on a track like this, I don't think that's gonna be the case though, because it's 16 cars, they're peppered all over the place. Some of them battling, some of them squabbling amongst each other. But right now, we've got both the BZR cars back in the top two positions. I don't know what happened. Danish, I think, has pitted. Looks like Danish pitted. He didn't want to be a part of any chaos that's going to ensue over there. HRT Vishal decides to stick behind Sudeep. So now it's going to be interesting to see what Danish does. If he gets put back on track behind a lapped car or so, he can start hopping from car to car using that slipstream and start hunting down the leaders.
Vishal really overcooked that corner there. He cooked it so badly that he's almost come to a grinding halt. Just a little bit of a maths here. So imagine when the race started, if there were more than 5 cars pitted in the next first 6 7 minutes, you're basically saying that this is the one of those moments. This is one of the moments that you'll possibly lose positions as things go ahead.
Certainly, I mean, if you pit in the wrong time, you're going to lose the slipstream, of course, and then you're just going to have to battle with the slower cars. But if you're lucky, you'll get put out right behind a faster car, just like what happened to Aryan, I believe, when he exited the pits. He was right behind Swaroop, the race leader. So a lot of things are happening now on track. So see, now Danish has finished his pit stop. I'd say he was about the same pace as Athav. Looking at the pace, it looked like Sudeep was just stuck behind them because now he's already pulled away from Athav. But if you compare the pace of Athav and
Mhm.
Danish, take it as the same. They're about 40 seconds apart. So it's safe to say that at this point, you lose about 40 seconds in the pit stop. That's around half a lap.
That's a lot of time. That's a really, really a lot of time. You're looking at 40 seconds. You can actually lose about 5 positions as you fight for positions ahead.
Yep. So all this is happening up front. It'll be actually interesting to focus on some of the other mid pack and back markers because they have a race of their own. Remember, this is about just overtaking, getting your positions. BJRT, Adarsh, and Sandeep from P11 and 12 seem to be awfully close on the leaderboard. Let's see what's happening to them. Maybe we can ride on board with Sandeep and see what they're doing. Yeah, so there's Adarsh. Sandeep is right behind him. Can't discount him. And Sandeep goes a little wide over there. Gets on the grass. Remember that Amrita Racing car is slightly different from his teammate's car. His teammate Prithvi has a solid red car with Phoenix written. This Amrita Racing car has a slightly different livery. Very interesting choice, but don't get confused. This is AR Sandeep on screen, going all over the place at the exit of Lesmo 2, getting a poor exit. And remember, if you get a poor exit down that Formula 1 modern DRS straight, it's going to cost you, especially into Ascari and then down the final straight.
As the cars come down, and there is the most closest battle that we're looking at is not somewhere in the front, but it is somewhere between the mid pack. That's 9th, 10th, and the 11th. In fact, it's 10th and the 11th, and also the 12th. That's possibly the closest battle. Do not get carried away by the distance that's been shown, as Sai had earlier pointed out. Adarsh now under danger to also lose out his position to Sandeep. Can Sandeep go on the outside? Come on, let's follow this battle. Uh, no, he does. Adarsh is still ahead. He overcooked the corner. Sandeep at this point of time now decides to run away from the scene of incident. This didn't look really, really professionally coming onto the racetrack.
Either way, as long as there's no incident, as long as you're not forcing anyone wide and no one's race is compromised, I think it should be fine. But I can't certainly say, and unless we rewatch that replay. But right now, we have BJRT, others trying to is holding on quite well up in front. Oh yeah, okay. That was, I believe, the race. One of the race leaders, Sudeep, just lapping him. So I think everybody in, apart from the top four, have pitted. At least looking at the gaps. I mean, if you're that far behind the leader and you haven't pitted, then you're running with a damaged car, which you shouldn't be doing. Uh, at least not ideally. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. So Athar was exiting the pits, right? Just look at the gap. So he's been overtaken by Danish. Danish has jumped back up into P3, and yeah, like you said, Solomon, I think Danish has a good chance of holding on to the podium now.
Just outside the podium. So Sudeep, the fastest man on the track, is on P2. Swaroop still needs to pit. 17 minutes to go. He's got a gap of 25. So if he pits now, he will somewhere come on 7 or 8. I would rather go to the last 5 minutes. What's your call, Sai? If Swaroop
I
has to
mean,
win this, come on, let's calculate this.
at this point, see, Swaroop is well ahead of the rest of the pack. I think even if he pits now, he's going to come out behind his teammate in clean air, which is not ideal. So maybe what they'll do, and I know it's not going to be ideal, but if somehow Sudeep starts catching up with Swaroop, they'll probably just alternate their pit stops. Either that, or they'll get Swaroop to pit and then get Sudeep to pit a little later after that. uh, Different things that can happen. I don't think BZR needs, with the pace they have, I don't think they need Sudeep to pit and then slow down and hold up the cars up at the back, because I mean, even though Swaroop is clearly the faster of the two cars, they're both still much faster than the rest of the pack. It feels like it's BZR's race to lose, so let's see how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are possibly talking about team orders in IRE versus Revit versus Formula Bharat. Let's bring it on. So then, with
Good.
16 laps to
I
go,
hope the organizations are not versus the cars on track, but sure, yeah, it's all competition. But yeah, I mean, it's great
it's
to see, man.
everybody
It's
included.
what a nice hybrid, eh? Like IReSports, we've got uh, streaming, everything combined with the engineering. It's just a nice little mashup of motorsport display that you have here. It's not really motorsport, by the way. For all of you new viewers who are not familiar with Formula Student, it's not exactly motorsport. There's no real racing involved. It's more about drivers in the spirit of the passion for engineering fast vehicles, engineer the vehicle. So it is an engineering design competition. So it's really cool to combine that with an esports space and create an engineering racing competition. A very
Right.
nice display of driving as well. So it's a great hybrid, Solomon. I think
Let's
this
not
is very
forget about
enjoyable.
the camaraderie that has been shared, as the camaraderie on the track really overshadows the competition on the track sometimes. But there is a lot of camaraderie, as Atharvaya just trying to take a move there. He's on the outside with Danish and Sudeep ahead of him. Can he be able to catch it on? He's one of the cars is one of the back markers, but we'll come to that in just a little bit. I hope he's able to break as late as possibly, passes one of the cars again. That was a good move on the back end.
100%. A tricky place to make that maneuver, but he manages to make it stick because Athav just needs to clear these back markers. There's only one driver, one position on his mind. That's the car up ahead. That's the podium spot. And I think with 15 minutes left, Solomon, it's safe to say this part is going to go down to the line.
I think it's time the race directors decide to get them as many number of cameras on the finish line.
I mean, it's a bit early for that, but Hunt definitely, we need to, we might have photo finishes. Who knows? As you see, Atar making a move there, you could see that in the mirror of Danish. Danish could see it in the mirrors. Danish goes wide onto the grass, manages to hold it. Great to see that. Will he outbreak himself? No, he doesn't. He manages to hold it. No, he doesn't. Again, he taps him. He went on the grass. I suspected he would have loss of grip. Is that going to be penalty for Danish? I mean, he got a bit too close to Atar as he ran up over there. He should have judged the lack of grip. Remember, you get on that grass, you will pick up the dust, all the dirt from off on the track. This is Athar's time to now start hunting him down. I don't think either driver has damage. If anybody, it's probably going to be Danish with the damage because the front end is a lot more fragile than the rear end of these cars.
You were spot on, Sai, because when he approached into this particular corner there, this is somewhere between turn 4 and 5. He possibly didn't have any much of a traction trying to exit that corner. So as he gets down to turn 6, turn 7, later on to turn 8, turn 9, it will be very, very difficult for him to really get a wider or even a more tighter exit.
Definitely. I think now it's just everyone's getting in their zone. Everyone's just trying to hunt down positions. No one wants to make mistakes. Remember, these are really, really good drivers. They're engineers. They know their cars as well. They're also really good drivers. I'd really like to see this. There's some really nice comments here in the comment section. Big shout out to Aditya Vyas who has commented before the race ends. Let's take a moment and appreciate all the drivers here. It takes more than hard work to be able to race here. A big hats off to each and every one of them. Very nice message, Aditya. Thank you so much for posting that. And I think that really shows the effort put by these teams to make this as much about engineering as it is about driving on tracks. Big shout out for all the drivers, and thank you so much for those kind words in the comments as well for these drivers.
I personally believe when you try and come on to Monza, race an Artin Senna's car, you're really taking on to a challenge that you've never taken on before. So this means that you're really trying to show your guts, you're trying to show your traction to try to fight it out.
It's just about finding your element. It's as good as that at this point. The track conditions are changing. If you go off, if you get grass on your tires, if you get little dirt on your tires, you lose the temperatures, it all goes downhill. It's not just the temperatures. Remember, these tires are quite hot, they're sticky. They do pick up, they get a lot of pickup quite well from the rubber on track, but also from the gravel and the grass off track. But you know what, looking at this, Athav does have the pace. He hunted down Danish. He was able to catch up to him. I feel like Athav will manage to do this again. But personally, from that incident, I felt like Athav didn't do anything wrong. He had the racing line, he broke at the right time. If it's not a racing incident, if anything, it's probably going to be against Danish in that incident. Too soon to say, but it looks like the driver in P4 did not was more of a victim in that particular scenario.
I think the fact of the matter is that you've seen a lot of race weekend here today. You've seen a lot of cars. As two of the cars try to, well, let's follow that battle and we'll come to that in just a bit.
This is
Uh,
Athav's time to be smart. There we go.
He says, "Thank you very much. Let me just dive in on the inside and run away into the distance as I take down to turn number 4 and turn number 5. And sorry, this is down to the home straight on the curve parabolica. I beg your pardon. As they come down to turn number 1, how does he able to manage that? Can he brake as late as possible? He's got the toe. He's got the toe. He goes wide. He follows him to that line. Didn't brake as late as possible. How does his exit look? A little off, but then he's running away into the distance.
But he's already taken that position and he's pulling away. So that just shows that MACR does have a pace advantage over STESR by the looks of it. Remember, MACR, Athav, starting, I believe, P3, whereas the STESR car, not quite up there. They were at P4, so not as fast as Athav. And we saw that drop off after about the top three. The pace drop off was evident in qualifying. So. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see both cars battling it up there. I don't think either one has terminal damage, but Athav's got back the position. He's back in P3, long way away from Sudeep, who's now only 15 seconds behind Swaroop. So I think Swaroop did pit. And it looks like perhaps Sudeep did as well because that gap has gone down a little bit. Tough to say. Unfortunately, viewers, we don't have a clear indication of whether they've pitted or not. We're still trying to get that information to you as quick as possible. But the leaders are running away right now. It's all out domination by the Bulls currently.
Sai, you can correct me here. I think it was Martin Brundle or Daniel Ricciardo or Avocado, as sometimes we nickname him, said. Uh, Monza is one of those tracks that kind of shows you the chink in your armor. It shows the chink in your driver's skill. If you do not get Monza right, you really may not be right up there. And let me tell you, to every folk who's come in driven into Revit, you've done your best, you've tried to master it. This is one of the most technical tracks in the world. With turn one and two, we'll still say it. Do not go over the sausage curb.
100%. I think at this point, the driver ought to know that. You see one of the BZR cars in the pits, so not quite sure who that was, but yeah, I'm just it's big shout out to the race directors. They're working really hard to get that information to us. We're getting some brilliant telemetry information, not really car telemetry, but a lot of
Right.
other info from the race directors. So thank you so much for that. The info that we're getting on screen, as you see BZR on screen, Swaroop way out in front, lonely race for him. I think the interviews for the top two are going to be quite boring because nothing's really happening in the race.
Talking about hard work, one of them has his birthday and he says, "This is the best way to celebrate my birthday." So Swaroop is running away into the distance. Mind you, he still has to pit. This is the ideal time that he should possibly come into the pit lane. Maybe leaving it too late is going to be only risky.
Yep. Like you said, you were talking about how Monza's where you can find the dent and the
The chink in your
malfunctions.
armor. The chink in your
Yeah,
armor.
it's like I don't know who said that. It could be Brundle, could be Ricardo. But speaking of Danny Rick, he is a driver who knows how to win here. He didn't quite do it in a Red Bull, even though he's from Red Bull, the academy. He didn't quite do it with a Red Bull. He did it with a McLaren. Today, however, it looks like the Bulls that are up in front. MACR holding P3. For those of you who are joining us just now, it's been a riveting race till now. Just over two-thirds of the race done. Have about 7.5 minutes on the leaderboard plus a lap if the driver up in front crosses the line before that timer runs out. Anything can happen, at least from P3 onwards, because it looks like the top two are running away. As you see, Athav dropping down big time. So he's either a timing glitch or he's, I don't know, he's pitted again. I don't see why he would have to. But yeah,
Another piece of trivia, Sai. When we talk about the Red Brigade trying to come down for a driving school, or their training program, or their driving school program, they come to Monza because this is where they try and see the real talent in a driver. So let me not sugarcoat this. This really means that this is the most technical, hard-earned track that we can ever see around for a very long time. And Monza, I would love to say this, Monza, you beauty.
brilliant, brilliant track for sure. But I think after 13 races here, maybe in the future, and I'm just speculating, if there were more competitions as such in the future, what sort of tracks do you think would really test your engineering potential? Not confirming anything, not saying anything. I have personally no control over the organizing of the competition, whether it's going to happen again or not. But for what it was worth, right now this year, it's been great as you see more overtaking maneuvers on track. For our audience, for our viewers, what other tracks do you think would really test your engineering potential? Let us know in the comments, as we have just over 5 minutes left. But it looks like none of these drivers are done with their racing just yet. There is contact between HR Aryan and the other STESR car. That is another camoed car up there. What was that all about?
And in the distance, I think the one, the red car, was trying to basically be a mute spectator. He almost stopped and said, he was ahead of them. I just didn't understand why did he actually break out of caution or break thinking that they're going to come and collide into him. There was actually a lot of comic turn drama.
It's really really difficult to say at this point with all the chaos up front. We don't know who's on the same lap and who's not, because that doesn't show. There's no real there are no flashing lights on the cars telling us that. We're gonna have to decipher who they are based on the livery. And remember, we've seen some of these liveries often, but some of these drivers do have their teammates as well on track, and it's not like Formula One where you have a different color on the TV pod camera to tell the difference, or the helmet design for that matter. Here they all have the standard helmet. No one cares about the livery at this point. It's just about about getting your car way up there. As you see a lot of big fishtail from Aman, Formula Manipal Aman, who had a good race, dropped back down, and he's now starting to fight his way back up. And is this the time he's going to start having problems? Did he pit too early? Are his tires giving way with about 35 minutes of the race already done?
Right then, with 4 minutes to go, it's hammer time. Let me tell you how the top 15 looks. Swaroop number one, Sudeep number two, Atharva at number three, Danish at number four, Vishal at number five, Prithvi at number six, Shashank at number seven, Danish at number eight, Aryan at number nine, Aman at number 10, Adarsh at 11, Mugilan at 12, Sandeep at 13, Samyak at 14, and Surya at number 15. Has Swaroop pitted, or when will he pit? That question still remains.
It's a long list. I hope those of you hearing on audio caught that, because there's been a nice little display of brilliant driving on track. A lot of grid shuffles over there, but those are your top 15, the only running 15 drivers on track. I need to check who it is that's disconnected. But there is one driver who has disconnected from the race right now. He's not there. Um and we're not sure what happened to their internet connection, but it looks like it could be a glitch. Remember, the 16th car on track is the race director's car, so that doesn't count as the finisher, as part of the competition. Okay,
He's
it's not
having
like
fun.
P16 is going to get a point or anything.
Quick request down. Can we look at the fight between Danish and Vishal? That is 4 and 5. I think that's the closest battle that we possibly can. Vishal versus Danish. In fact, now Danish has fallen back. He's made a mistake. I think this is not going to go well. He rolled the dice a little too late. Danish, there goes his possible
Correct,
chance on a podium.
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Danish already pit? Remember, we were comparing Danish and Atharv in their pit. So obviously he's run into some damage. Yeah, there's only one STS car, by the way, STESR car. So that camoed car that was involved in collision with the red car in T1 a couple of laps back, the chicane. That is Danish car. So maybe he got some damage from that. Who knows? Either way, Danish is having a pretty unfortunate set of incidents in his race. Some might be his own error, some might not be. It's very difficult to say right now, but either way, none of that really matters because he's down in P7, having started P5. So that a delta of he's lost two positions effective to the race start, and he's just having to battle his way back up. More contact, someone, Aryan, and the BJRT driver of others tapped. That was Aryan losing control and then coming back on track, fishtailing, just hooking back onto the racetrack, narrowly missing another. That's a
Danish.
HRT McLaren livery car, and then the Formula Manipal car also involved in that collision. So BJRT and Manipal both completely having totaled cars, and the driver that seemed to have caused all of that collision from his fishtail, Aryan, is down in Delarogia, retiring his car back to the pits as well. All of this, I just noticed there's only about 1.5 minutes of racing left. So the last 1.5 minutes of Rev-it, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching, there's just 1.5 minutes of racing left in the grand finale, and Swaroop has just been running away. Had a bit of a battle with Aryan up in the beginning of the race, but now his competitor Aryan plumb way down out of the points, at least out of the top 10, down in P11. Swaroop is unfazed up there in front as he takes Parabolica for what is the penultimate time.
I think he's already counting down and he's already saying, hey, bring down that checkered flag. I really need to meet it as Atharva is going
More
to lose his
collision.
position. There are more
That
collisions at
is
the end.
another collision between MAC Arathar and Danish once
Mostly
again. This
Danish once
time
again.
Danish is
Correct.
a lap down and this has happened. We don't know who caused what, but both cars spinning out. I don't know. I think that has cost Athar big time. Look at HRT Vishal taking P3 in the last minute. This is the last lap of racing, everyone. There you go, Vishal. No, Vishal is in P4. Okay, I need to. Okay, the
Hang
timing
on.
screen is a little
He's back
buggy.
to number three. He's back to number three.
Oh,
So the
he's
HRT
back in P.
Vishal is
Yes,
number
he's
three.
back in P3.
It's Christmas time for him. It's a bumper shopping time for him. He's already gone to number three. He's got to hold on to it. He's got
Yep.
20 seconds lead. All he's just got to do is just bring that car home. Swaroop is still in the lead. Sudeep at number two. Everything to play for. Put the hammer down with 20 seconds to go. Prithvi breaks very late. He wants to hold on from Atharva.
And look at
This
that. Look at the timing screen. Sorry to cut you off, Solomon, but look at that.
go on.
Arthur was in the
Absolutely, go
pits.
ahead.
Atharv was in the pits. He's still in the pits and he's dropping down. Is Danish going to overtake him? This is the last lap. Look at him. Atharv is in the pits. And I don't know. I think he's crossed the line. So even if he exits the pits, he will have to complete that lap to officially classify. Remember, he has already crossed that line when he's entered the pits. So he's already on a new lap right now. Where is Danish? Let's see what Danish is up to. I don't think the race leader is unfazed. Let's just first have a look at Swaroop. Danish going across the line. We know where he is. Let's see Swaroop as he finishes off his race. There we go. BZR has had a flawless set of victories up till now as Swaroop crosses the line to take victory, to win the endurance finale, the endurance event for Bulls Racing here at Rev-it. His teammate Sudeep a long way behind, just doing the penultimate straight of this track as he makes his way into P2. He's going to take P2, and I think it's safe to say big congratulations to BZR for surviving the carnage in all these races, taking victory in every single race they've taken part in. Sudeep has taken victory in every race he's taken part in, sans this one, but I don't think he'd mind because his teammate is up there. It's a duel, a 1-2 for Swaroop and Sudeep, for BZR. HRT Vishal managing to take P3. He has taken P3 and he would be delighted having started. Let me just check. He started P7 and he jumped to P3. So brilliant job by HRT. It looks like that Senna livery really did pay off in its own way.
Maybe Senna was looking after that car from the top, but then that's a different story to talk about. But I would really think, thank you for bringing in your version of team orders into IRE's Formula Bharat Revit.
Please don't accuse me of team orders. But yeah, that was just speculation. I don't know what BCR had up their sleeve, but
But
you know,
we are kidding. All we are trying to say is that you
of
got to
course,
race as a team, you got to race
it's
hard.
all banter.
All
But
banter,
yeah,
yep.
brilliant race. I mean, it had a bit of everything. I think SCESR Danish is just logged off. He's no longer on the leaderboard, so he's called it quits on the last lap. Driver interviews are coming up now. We've had 16 drivers on the grid. I'm not quite sure what the protocol here is. I need to double check, but I highly doubt we have time for 16 interviews. Let us at least have the top three. So not the top three. We've got few of them in the interview room. We need to wait and see. Meanwhile, Solomon, can you please sum up your race? Can you just sum up this race in like maybe the
Uh,
last in about 2 minutes for our viewers who are perhaps just joining right now?
First and foremost, thank you so much to the race director to make it 40. We saw so much improved action from the semis into the qualifying. We shaved off 5 seconds. We saw overtaking maneuvers. We also saw undercut. We also saw drivers going off. We also saw a little bit of the fast and the furious and the furious and the fast. And we also saw some amazing overtaking maneuver from Swaroop. Great job by him, and it's 1 and 2 for the team that has really done well. And you can't expect more. And the only thing we can expect more, maybe next time we push it for an hour.
Yep. So that is the way the cookie crumbled for some, the way the phoenix rose for others,
I
and that
think,
was the way
Sai,
the
correct me,
bull
I'm
charged
wrong.
for the front.
Towards the end, I found a lot of drivers possibly gave into the pressure. They possibly suddenly looked at the timer and it said less than 5 minutes to go, and hence the mistakes started coming in because one, you are chasing the driver ahead of you, and then you decide that when your time is up, you already are trying to make up for the lost place when you had at the start.
Yep, it's just about calculating what you do really on track. I'm just reading the chat a bit. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I'm quite sure you could wait just a couple more minutes if you could, please, because we're just sorting out a few glitches for. So we're just some people from MAC are saying maybe author got disqualified or something. There could be some glitch. I don't know. I remember I saw there only 14 or 13 drivers were there on the server when it timed out, and unfortunately that's why we're not able to show the results right now. It's a small glitch. So please bear with us, viewers, as we just sort that out. We're just waiting. I'm quite sure you all want to hear from the drivers. We really do as well, but we're just kind of waiting it out. So kindly give us a couple of minutes. We'll catch our breath as well because I'm quite sure there's a lot of talking to do with the drivers. There we go. That's the order. There we go. Yep. So don't worry, MACR. Your driver has not been disqualified. That's what the results show over there. So I think we can jump straight into the commentary. We just need to have a look at who we can get in. So I reckon we will definitely have a chat with the top four, maybe top five. Um, but at this point, I think with MAC or Athar in the chat, let's just get the top six. So let's get Athar in the chat first into the interview room. Let's have a look at what happened in his race. We already saw what happened on track. I believe there were some crashes. Arthur was unfortunately involved in getting rear-ended into T1. Atharv has joined us. Welcome, Atharv. We saw you have some stellar drives in the qualifying races. Very unfortunate. We saw you had a very good chance for P3, I believe, and then there was a contact in the first chicane. Can you first run us through what happened over there?
No, there is no contact. Okay. In first turn, I had a contact, but I let the others go, and then trying to overtake them. And I came to at last. I guess I have a third position safely. But I don't know. At the last minute, I've got like you have not done a mandatory pit. But in middle of the game, I had done a back to pit. So I don't know why that is
Yeah,
happened.
I remember you pitting as well because we were looking at everyone who's pitting and yeah, for sure we saw that. So we're not sure, but I mean I guess so. You're saying you had to pit again at the end because it said you didn't pit, and that's why you lost and got P6, right?
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
I
interesting.
guess
Right.
I had a third position safely.
Mhm.
Atharva, my question to you is two questions. One is I want you to talk about the experience of racing with the Revit. One. Second, I would also like you to say your thank yous because you're here because there has been a team that has been backing you.
What? Sorry.
I would like you to share your experience of being part of Revit, and
Yes.
if you'd also want to say your thank yous for the people who have backed you to be here.
Okay, so my experience was quite good, but at last I don't know what happened. And I like to thank my all teammates and college mates who are supporting throughout the event. Yeah, that's it.
Great stuff, Arthur. We've seen continuous support from you in the chat and all of these events. So you've got a great team backing you over there, and you should be really proud of what you've accomplished till now. Not quite sure what the final classification is. Maybe you will gain positions. Maybe some shuffling might be done. I can't be certain. I'm not the steward. I'm quite sure very capable individuals at IReSports, our team, will be looking into all of this. So don't worry about all of that. For now, you should be incredibly proud of what you did, Arthur. Congratulations, and go ahead and celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
So, Solomon, who should we get on next? I mean, shall we get on P5? Shashank, if he's there.
Absolutely.
Actually, no. It looks like Shashank is nowhere to be seen in the commentary.
Anybody. Let's bring in everybody. Come on, guys. Let's possibly bring
Shashank.
in
How about
Vishal.
Prithvi? Do we have Prithvi? Let's
Prithvi.
get P4. And to be honest, I don't remember much of what Prithvi was doing in the race. But oh yeah, I remember there was some. Was there a collision through Curva Grande? I'm not
Mid
sure.
pack. Mid pack. He was part of the mid
Back.
pack
Well, he's up
and
in
moved.
P4 now.
Yeah.
He's got a good run up to P4. Welcome to the commentary, to the interview, Prithvi. You started P11. You found yourself up into P4. Firstly, congratulations on making up 7 positions. Could you tell us how you got up to P4?
Thank you. The start, I messed up a bit, so I braked in very soon, so I got damage in my wings, but still continued. Didn't make any other mistakes. Like made few mistakes here and there, but didn't spin out and anything in a very large manner. Just made sure I didn't make any mess, and yeah, before.
My question to you is would you like to share with us one of the best experiences that you had being part of Revit?
Oh, sure. So, for example, the late nights working on setup, that was really interesting for me. I liked that portion a lot. And in the race, if you ask me, so the whole second portion of the race, I'm not sure about the name, I forgot, but he was following me and he was catching up a lot. And we had very close. We were very close until the end. So that was very tense, and really, I was able to get more concentration out of it. So yeah, these two things I would say.
For engineers, 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning is always a late night, and that joke has always stayed. I would like you to stay. I would like you to say your thank yous.
Oh, so yeah, thank you for Revit for giving this opportunity, obviously, and all the team members who there are many people in my team, so they also did their research. They helped me in a few setups, few engine parameters and suspension parameters. So all of them, thank you very much. That's it.
Maybe it's time for a pizza or a pani puri party. I think I'll let you decide.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Congratulations. Have a great evening.
Yeah,
Enjoy with your team. Yep.
yeah. Thank you.
The next driver, let's get Vishal Stephens from Hyperion Racing Team. I mean, Vishal had a stellar race. I want to know what happened. How? I mean, he did really well, a really good job, honestly. If I just check, he started P6. He's up to P3. So I'd really like to know what happened in his race. We saw him snatch away P3 at the end. Once again, viewers in the comments, I know from MACR, there's a lot of unhappiness with that last final pit stop and stuff. Be assured, we're all looking into it. Right? Don't worry too much. You guys have all done a great job either way. You guys and gals from your team have done a great job. Just let's keep it a little civil. Let's keep it quite clean. Let's have a. This is what Formula Student is all about. It's about you know being together and in the spirit of engineering, enjoying the entire event. So everyone just keep it calm, keep it clean in the comments. I'm sure everything will be sorted out soon. Can we get Vishal into the commentary booth? Welcome, Vishal. Starting all the way from P6, finding your way up into P3. First of all, congratulations. We saw you multiple times on the camera, having extremely clean racing. You're taking the lines perfectly. Could you run us through what happened in your race?
I actually got a brilliant start. So I think I climbed up to P4, and then I'm the car inside me into the Deloroggio, turn 4. I think I felt like he's going to lose control, so I had to sort of cut the corner, and I like got a small time penalty. So I dropped back a bit. I think P6, and yeah, then of course climbed my way back from there. So yeah, it was. I had a much better finals than I did within my semifinals.
I'm not sure that how many people with a time penalty to go on to finish in the top three. So congratulations,
Yeah, thank
very
you.
well done. Your team name is Hyperion Racing. There is a lot of hyper in your team. There's a lot of energy in your team. I would like you to talk about as the experience of being part of IRE and Revit.
Oh, it was a fabulous experience. I mean, just sitting at home, we had so much of excitement, wheel to wheel racing, and it was superb. It was a great experience.
Well,
It's also
congratulations,
time.
Vishal, for getting P3 right now. Not sure how the grid's going to shuffle and stuff, but you had a great race, stellar race. You drove a really good race. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy the competition. Go ahead and celebrate with your team.
Oh, loved it. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And the next driver, should we get well? I just got to get confirmation. So viewers, the thing is, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got almost like everybody lined up for the interview. Not quite sure how long we can go on the stream, but maybe we can. Shall we get? Let's get both the Bulls racing drivers into the commentary room. Um, what,
I
what do you say,
promise.
Solomon? Or should we talk to
I
some of the
promise
others?
you. No, no. I
Should we talk to the
promise you that
others and then top it off at the end with the
no,
Bulls?
if you're getting the Bulls guys, I promise you, I'm not going to talk about team orders, but get them in first. I want to talk to them about how the race was.
Actually, wait, uh, I don't know, man. I mean, if let's say if Danish is in the actually, can we talk to Danish first? Because we somehow have a few incidents over there. It'll be good to hear his perspective. So if the race directors could get Danish into the room, we could have a chat with him. Hello, Danish. We saw quite a an adventurous race from you. A few incidents, especially in the turn number one. You're having a good battle with Arthur, but then you got on the grass in one of the laps. So did you just run out of grip after
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it was exhilarating. I mean, in the start, I got a really good start. I'd say I went from P5 to like P3 within the first two laps. And the incident that you're talking about, actually, So I was kind of pushed out. There was no space left for me, and I had to go outside on that incident. And then again, I did climb back to P4, I think, from P5 over there. And in the end, there was a big incident with, I think, me and Vishal. Unfortunately, both got stuck by some of the people that we had labbed, and they just crashed into us. So I think that was the second check-in, and then I had to pit for the second time because of that. I had to go and repair my suspension. So yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but yeah, whatever. It was a good experience.
Danish, you, if you had to pick your racing today, you had possibly the most action, the most comic turns, and the most reactions as well. You couldn't have asked for a over the edge of the seat kind of an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just the fact that even in semifinals, it was, I think, a miracle that I got through, because once it was over, I had like basically like essentially just lost hope, and then the penalties came in, and then fortunately I did qualify for the final. So yeah, overall I think it's been a really good experience. A lot of action going on, and I think luck was there by my side, and then I think it just ran out towards the end in the final.
Yeah, that's what happens with luck. It runs out when we need it the most. I would let
Yeah.
you say your thank yous, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I think it was a good experience. Even we were like a lot of teams. We were mutually discussing a lot of stuff, like a day before the finals, with respect to what uh, improvements we've made in terms of whether we've changed anything and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of socializing that has gone into, and overall it's been really fun.
Hey man,
If
that's
you
great to hear, right? I mean, like this is what Formula Student is all about. It's about the spirit of engineering. We see this happen in tracks as well. When we go for the events, it's
Yeah.
just about just admiring each other's cars, learning from each other, and just striving to be better engineers overall. So yeah, it's great to hear that you enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think this is the closest virtual experience you can have to what is probably, hopefully, this January, February, the teams will get to experience after a year of no Formula Bharat on site. So yeah, I think this is a good replacement. This has been a good replacement for that until everything settles back to normal.
Well, great to hear that. Congratulations, Danish. You didn't have the perfect race that you wanted, but nonetheless, at least you made it across the line. You've got 70 points as of now. Not quite sure how the leaderboard will shuffle after all the stewarding work that has to be done by our brilliant stewards. But either way, congratulations. Good to hear you enjoy the event, and yeah, keep pushing.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Next driver, who else is lined up? Before we get to the winners, I know the Bulls racing team is waiting to hear their drivers, who will be interviewing together, because why not pack double the punch? But there is one driver who is in the interview room who will be joining Aryan. He's got a lot of support from the chat, right? And I, for one, really liked the way he drove, especially in the beginning. And then unfortunately he had to pit, some unfortunate incident, which I can't quite remember what happened, but he had a brilliant race up there in the front. So we can get Aryan on board. We good to talk. Welcome, Aryan from Hermes Racing. Hermes is the messenger at Olympus. You wanted to give a message to the audience today. I think you did do that. Had a brilliant start, but an unfortunate incident later on. Could you run us through what happened and how you dropped down the order?
Nothing really. I was just hit by a back marker on the straight line. I don't know what's wrong with just some drivers just don't give any space. Like I had a crash twice. One was right in the start, not at the start, like after a few laps with a back marker, and then I had to go back to the pits. My suspension was damaged, so a very long penalty for I think it was around 200 seconds. Then again, I was overtaking and just wasn't giving me any space. Then can't help it.
Aryan, it's for one of those days where I've always said, when you have a little bad day, you always have to look at your DP. I admired your DP, and I will continue to say that. But then you brought in, when you came out of the pit lane, you put in some really stellar laps. But towards the end, you possibly thought you ran out of time.
I don't know. I just lost a lot of motivation after that crash, And yeah, even after I was trying, then nobody was giving me any space. It was very chaotic.
Aryan,
I just
nevertheless,
wanted to vent.
Aryan, I do understand. It's not
Yeah.
the way that you had even vision, but this has been an experience that you're going to be carrying forward. Would you like to talk about your experience?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a nice, fun event for all college students, and it was very fun actually. In the first start with bulls racing, like very clean, nice fights. I was enjoying it, uh, but it was short lived.
So right, man. I mean, sometimes that happens. We've all been there, even in Formula Student events. No team ever has a very clean event. There's always going to be something that some sort of a hurdle on site or off that you need to jump over. Just saying, this is an experience. It was a good to see. All the driving from all of your drivers. Congratulations, nonetheless, on finishing the race. Quite sure those 50 points might not have been what you wanted, but they're still 50 well-deserved points. So keep your head up and congratulations. Go ahead and celebrate with your team.
Yep, thank you.
So the moment you've all been waiting for, and you as well, Solomon. Let's bring in the Bulls racing drivers. Let's bring in both Swaroop and Sudeep into the commentary booth. Two times the driver, twice the weight, but also twice the fun in the interview. Let's just wait for them to finish their mic check. They'll be in any second now.
I think we may want to do the drum roll, and even if they don't arrive, start the drum roll one more time. So just to make sure that they come. Uh,
P2 has arrived. We wait for P1 and then all out bonanza. There we go. Both the drivers from Bulls Racing. First of all, both of you, congratulations. You absolutely dominated this competition. Got victories in your individual quarterfinal races, got victories in your individual semifinals races, and now you have a 1-2 finish at Endurance. I think your team has scored every single possible point you can muster from this, that you can salvage from this event. Firstly, congratulations. Let's start off with Sudeep. You had a strong charge in P2, but did you miss out at the start? Did something happen? Did it cost you a position?
Yes, the start was good, but after the first chicane, I spun out and had to go back to the pits. My error, and then I had to charge up the field to get back the podium.
Sudeep, there was one particular time where you were starting at number 7 and 8, and then you clocked in the fastest lap of the race. And it was done at least twice. And from there on, you moved all the way up to number 2. Take us through that charge through the field.
So the grip felt good. I had the confidence, so I had to put my 100% into the race. We had planned for a 1-2 start and easily cruise to victory, keeping the lead, but it did not turn out that way. So we had to go the extra mile to uh, take the podium.
Between you and Swaroop, did you envision that you guys will finish 1 and 2 or 2 and 1 respectively? Did it actually cross your mind? Let me go with you first. Did it cross your mind that you guys can actually win this?
Yes, so
Swaroop, what about you? You
Yes, yes, we had the confidence that we'll be one and two. We knew we had the pace, so it was just about keeping our head down and not making any mistakes. But Sudeep unfortunately spun in the first lap, but that was unfortunate. But it was an awesome drive from him. Climbing back from back of the grid to P2. Uh, yeah, I'm like we're happy that like in the end we are P1 and 2.
So, Swaroop, my question to you is very simple. You, when you are at IRE, when you are at REVIT Formula Bharat, there is a learning. What is the kind of learning that you would like to pass on to the rest of the team right now? There is some sort of a learning that you have learned in this experience.
About the racing, it's all about the consistency. So it doesn't matter if you're faster in the beginning. you put the consistent laps. You practice for consistency in the beginning. So then, when you start looking into the setups, you start seeing the difference in lap times, and you can analyze the setup accurately. So, with regard to setup, that was uh, one thing uh, I would like to say about.
Great to hear that. We keep saying consistency gets you podiums. Here it got you way more than that, got you victories in every single round for your team. So, congratulations, Swaroop, on taking this victory. And congratulations, Sudeep,
Thank
on
you so
making
much.
it a making it a P1, P2 finish for Bulls Racing. On a final note, when we end this, given if everything goes smoothly and we are able to have that, when if we can have an actual physical Formula Student event, will we be seeing Bulls Racing over there?
Yes, so we do aim to build a car and attend the offline event.
Or the offline
We'll,
event? Okay.
we're looking
Cool.
forward to see that car. Sudeep, Swaroop, this is the time for you to remember the people who have backed you to win one and two today. I would like you to say your thank yous.
I would like to give a big shout out to my teammates who supported throughout the competition, helped us in making the setups, and also a big thanks to my good friend Sudeep. And there was healthy competition between us, which because of which we pushed even zero point 0.1 seconds every time we played with each other. We drove together. So and also thank you for organizing this event. It was a great experience for us.
Big shout out to IReSports and Formula Bharat for
Yeah,
making this happen. This has been an exciting set of races. Great job, Sudeep and Swaroop. Congratulations, and go ahead and virtually celebrate with your team because you definitely do deserve it.
thank you. Thank you so much.
So, before we conclude, I mean, we are concluding now. Solomon, wrap up your experience with Revit, wrap up your 5 races that you were a part of.
I think I would like to just close with what Sarupa said and what you said, consistency. That's what really, really matters. So here we come. Run me into the classification. Swarup number one, Sudeep from both from Bulls Racing 1 and 2. Hyperion Racing, Vishal number 3, Prithviraj at number 4, Ravi Shashank at number 5, that's Blue Jay Racing, Modified Auto Racing Club, Atharav Kohli is at 6, Danish, the man who had the most number of comic turns from STS Racing at number 7, Nanesh Patel at number 8, that's from Formula Manipal Electric, Sandeep Kumar from Amrita Racing at 9, Samyak from Ojas Watt Motorsports at 10, Aryan from Herms Racing at 11, Adarsh Kumar at Blue Jay Racing Team at 12, Aman Patel from Formula Manipal at 13, Mughal K from Shaurya Racing at 14, Surya CS from Shwestar Racing at 15, and Dhruv Joshi finishing it at Modified Auto Racing Club. That's the classification.
16 drivers, 16 of the best drivers in Revit this year. Thank you so much, Solomon. Like you said, I 100% agree with you. It is consistency. You've seen that happen in Formula One. Some drivers get their first ever victory simply because they know how to keep their head cool. They know how to focus on the finishing line and they know how to get there before everyone else. On that note, let's go over the thank yous for everyone involved in Revit. We had Optimum G, who's been constantly supporting, has been a constant inspiration and support for the students in Formula Student events, who's been a part of this. A big shout out to Formula Bharat for making this happen. It's been an absolute treat. And I think it's been a great experience, in a world that's otherwise gone virtual in a lot of aspects. It only makes sense to be involved in this as well. And it's just I hope this has been a great learning experience, especially for the participants who have been constantly a part of this and who've also made this a huge success. Big shout out to the entire Formula student community, Formula Bharat, Optimum G, and IR Esports for giving this opportunity, giving this chance to make all of this happen. On that note, this is Saidat Ramesh signing off. It's been an absolute pleasure, an absolute honor. Alongside me has been Solomon. constantly giving and covering the places which I, for one, have not been able to cover consistently. Thank you so much, Solomon, for being a part of this and helping out. Big shout out to our race directors, Feroz, Gaurav, and Tanuj, and also our race stewards, Aditya Pawar and Abha Mankar. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. I hope to see you all soon. We're not sure what's going to happen next, but stay tuned for the results. Follow IReSports Formula Bharat, all the pages that will be posting these results. You can check those also on Formula Bharat's website. Check all of this out. For that, this is me signing off. I've spoken enough. I hope you've all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being a part of this and have a great evening. Stay safe and farewell.